What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Dazzle video. Today we're going to be doing a gameplay analysis. So we're going to be going through my mindset when it comes to, mainly today's topic is going to be items. Why I buy certain items and what my mindset is during during the game and during the team fight. You'll notice I bought the smoke. And my favorite items to start with are stats, fairy fire, and regen. And if I'm playing position 5, I will always buy a smoke. And most likely, I will carry the ward. In this game, something weird happened where my mid didn't carry a ward. Usually, the mid hero carries a ward, and a different support carries the other ward. My Tusk, who was playing position 4, carried a ward, so I assumed the mid player, my Quap, would have carried the ward. And you know what they say about assuming? It makes an ass of you and me, except mostly you. Did that make sense? It makes an ass of you and me, but mostly you. Whatever. In this current patch, 7.36 B, but really 7.36 in general, in the early game, you want a Wraith Band right now. And I'm assuming you're playing with Poison Bloom because, in my opinion, that's the only playable facet. So the reason you want Poison Bloom and the reason you want attack speed is you are going to be one-on-one with the enemy position 4 at some time in the laning stage. Whether it's for a Lotus pool or it's for blocking camps, body blocking camps, etc. Or you have a good timing with your carry and you go aggressive on the enemies in your lane, you're going to want to have attack speed. You're going to get the most out of Poison Touch, and you're going to get the most out of Poison Bloom. Okay, and you'll see right here we get a kill because I have a Wraith Band. Me buying Clarities and Mangoes at 5 minutes and 25 seconds is very important. And that is because I need to show up to the power runes at 6 minutes. This is crucial in any of your games as a position 5 Dazzle. You must show up to the power runes at minute 6. In the lower brackets, you may have to communicate this to your carry and say, look, carry, I am leaving the lane for the next 30 seconds. Either farm the jungle if you feel you're in danger, or make a decision on your own on what to do. But I have to leave for the sake of our game. Because guess what? Your lane partner, your hard carry, is going to be extremely upset if the mid game goes poorly and he has nowhere to farm because your mid is losing mid. Your hard carry is going to thank you in about 5 to 10 minutes when you have control of the map because your mid is winning his matchup mid and is killing the other mid laner. I get my clarity. I get my TP because I need a TP. And I get a mango and I bring out some wards. By the way, wards are essential at any stage of the game. So I'm going to stack camps at 52, 53, boom. And I'm going to walk here to the rune. And I'm pinging to my Quap that, hey, buddy, there is a rune here. So I'm ready to take it just in case Zeus shows up. And because he showed up, we get a kill. Okay? Now, this is a divine level game. So even in divine, if you show up to the rune, it will be a help to your team. You will gain an advantage for your team. The next item I buy is brown boots. In this patch, treads is, in my opinion, one of the core items for Dazzle. So another rune is coming up. Okay, another power rune is coming up. So I'm going to show up to this power rune. I'm trying to check where Pudge was last. And I ping to my Quap that we have a DD here, just in case he wants to take it. Again, buying wards, buying sentries at every chance I get. Because that ward was uncontested, I feel free to put down my observer ward, because if there was vision of that area, they would have contested the rune. Because Quap has DD, this fight is very easy for us. So again, helping your secure runes is extremely important. Now, what can I do with my power treads? There's a couple things you can do. First one is stack and farm ancient camps. Second thing is toggle your boots for mana regen, HP regen, and attack speed. Try to get in the habit of switching from intelligence, agility, and strength treads based on what it is you're doing. In the early game, it makes a big difference. This camp is not going to be, if I leave this camp is not going to be farmed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stack it and then farm it myself. Okay, and that's what you can do in this new patch with Poison Bloom and a Wraith Band. The Power Treads also helps. I also grab the Wisdom Rune, and then it's as simple as this. So I switch to Int Treads when I cast my Poison Touch, and then I switch to Agility Treads when I start auto-attacking. And it's this easy. It doesn't cost a lot of HP. It takes about 30 seconds for a double stack. Even as a position 5, there it is. After my treads and my Wraith Band, the first big item is already determined from minute 0. And what it is it's an item that counters the mid lane. Zeus is a hero that does all magic damage, almost all exclusively magic damage. And no matter where you are on the map, you're going to be taking damage from him with his ult. He's also a very mobile hero, and he's going to have a very long range with all of his nukes. So even if my positioning is good, he is going to hit me with a bunch of magic damage. So Glimmer Cape is the perfect item to buy against mid Zeus. There are other heroes, and I have a list right here. I'll put it up on the screen. These heroes are perfect to counter with Glimmer Cape. So the first big item, I would go Glimmer Cape. This is going to help my allies stay alive. It's going to help me stay alive. And it's going to help me farm faster by helping me stay alive through the mid game when Zeus does tons and tons and tons of damage. Glimmer Cape is another example of how bad Nothal Boon is. Dazzle's Facet Nothal Boon is just terrible. I would be giving people right now a 125 HP physical barrier, only if they're full health. That is just absolutely terrible. Glimmer Cape, I can give anybody 300 magic damage barrier at any time I want. Nothal Boon, you can only use it when people are full health. When in a fight are your allies full health, guys? It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's a terrible facet. It should never be picked. Okay, now we're going to take a look at my Glimmer Cape in action. So, my Glimmer Cape helps me not only take a lot less damage, but it makes Zeus cast his W multiple times, and it helps me get the kill on Pudge. It also helps me live here because I have that barrier, thank God. So there's Glimmer Cape saving me again. Good support items should do 3 things. Number 1, it should keep you alive. 2, it should keep your allies alive. And number 3, it should help you fight and farm reliably, consistently, anytime you want. Glimmer Cape covers the first 2 really well. It keeps you alive, it keeps your allies alive. But what you'll find is you'll have some mana issues when you just have Glimmer Cape. So what I like to do is I like to go some sort of item that has a mana component. What item is going to benefit your overall game with the team? And in this case, I decide I want to go Ether Lens. And in fact, Ether Lens is a great choice for any situation. By the way, here is another good example of my Glimmer Cape really working wonders. So I definitely would have been dead without my Glimmer Cape. And Zeus had zero impact in that fight because all he was trying to do was kill me. And he couldn't kill me, all because I had Glimmer Cape. Ether Lens is generally a great item on Dazzle as a second support item. Against some lineups, I would recommend considering Shard as your second item. If on the enemy team there is a core hero out of these heroes, you should consider getting a Shard right away. Meaning as your second item after the item that counters the enemy mid. But in this game, the cores are Enigma and Anti-Mage. So my Shard is not going to be my second item. Instead, I'm going to go for Ether Lens. So Ether Lens does a great job of keeping me alive longer in most scenarios. In this game, it'll keep me out of Black Hole. It'll keep me away from a lot of Zeus nukes, a lot of Zeus's spells. It'll keep me away from Pudge Hooks, Shadow Shaman spells. And it'll also help me shallow grave a lot of my teammates when they get hooked, for example, when they blink forward, for example. So Quap, Sand King, when Tusk snowballs, these three heroes are going to blink in. And sometimes they'll get caught right away. And I need to save them right away. And so having Ether Lens gives me that extra assurance that I can get that shallow grave off. Offensively, Poison Touch gets almost triple buffed with Ether Lens. Okay, you can cast it from further away. You can hit heroes that are further away on the cone. So Poison Touch has a cone, so it has that initial target and then targets behind it get hit. Now, with Ether Lens, you can hit targets that are away. You can cast it on targets that are further away, but you can also hit the heroes that are even further away in the back. So it buffs both of those distances. The third way is because you're standing much further away from the fight, that cone is wider for your enemies to be hit. But as a cone gets further away, it gets wider. So because you're standing further away because of Ether Lens, the chances of you hitting your enemies is just that much bigger. So Ether Lens really buffs Poison Touch in 3 different ways. And in the mid game, in the late game, when we have Shard, this becomes very, very important. So that's why Ether Lens is a solid item choice in this game, but I would argue in most games. So next, I grab my Shard. Now, Dazzle's Shard is extremely strong. It is a 1.6 second hex on almost a 6 second cooldown. It's realistically not a 6 second cooldown because you're going to be casting other spells in between. You're not going to be just refreshing Poison Touch. But if you did, it would be a 6 second cooldown at ult level 3. Which is extremely powerful because of the number of units you're hitting with Ether Lens. And now I want to go into the next item because this is where really anything can happen. At 30 minutes and beyond, every game is so different. And there are games where you may be able to farm Ags, you may be able to farm Octarine, but those are so expensive. You really have to make a decision on which item do you think is going to be important in the next team fight. My guess would be Anti-Mage is coming online. Okay. He's going for Butterfly. He has his Battle Fury, his Manta, and his Ags. So in this next team fight, when we push, we're probably going to push high ground with this Aegis. We're going to take the tier 2s and push high ground. So I believe in one of these high ground pushes in the next 5 minutes, because we have a 5-minute window with Aegis, AM is going to blink on me in the back line while my teammates are being black holed, and I'm going to grave someone in the black hole. AM is going to jump me, and he's going to kill me. So That's what I'm itemizing for here. Because right now, the only thing that's going to save me is Glimmer Cape. That's not reliable because AM can buy dust. So what I do is I get Ghost Scepter. So effectively, I'm giving myself 4 seconds plus maybe 2 seconds until he burns all my mana and I have to cast Shallow Grave. So 4 seconds plus 2 seconds plus 5 seconds. 11 seconds of survivability against AM in the backline. If I do get a Poison Touch off, it becomes more like 13 seconds. Okay, and I also got lucky with the Psychic Headband, so I can push him away, hopefully. So maybe I can survive for a good 14, 15 seconds. And so that's my goal because there's no way I can kill AM, no matter what items I get from this point forward as a position 5 Dazzle. I am going for Ghost Scepter to survive his backline jump. All right, so this is a great example. All right, AM was looking for me. I got my Ghost Scepter off. I think I cast my Poison Touch too early, but that's going to happen. I didn't play perfectly. So Zeus revealed me. He jumps on me. I push him away with my neutral item. And I still have Shallow Grave. And then my teammates are finally going to back me up at 35 minutes on the dot. So I survived from 34-35. So I survived for 25 solid seconds one-on-one with an AM. And that was perfect because, my team was doing shenanigans up here. They were doing their thing. And I basically took their hard carry out of the game without him doing anything. So I wasted his time so my teammates could come back and back me up. And I still have Shallow Grave. And I have my Poison Touch coming off cooldown in about 1 second because of my ult. And so we can lock him down and hopefully kill him. And that's how we do it. So the main thing you want to think about and visualize is in this next team fight, what is going to keep me alive and help me cast spells for my team. The question is the next item. Again, the next item is really not set in stone. It's something that you have to visualize on the fly every game. So after 30 minutes as a position 5 support, you're really going to have to visualize and ask yourself, what does my team need? You have a few options. You can go for a Lotus Orb, right? Shadow Shaman really struggles against Lotus Orb, and he is their main form of lockdown. Pudge also really struggles against Lotus Orb. And Enigma kind of struggles on Lotus Orb. Right now, Enigma is really, his only value is Black Hole. But if he were to Malefice somebody, that would backfire with Lotus Orb. So Lotus Orb will be fantastic to put on either your Co-op or my Lifestealer. Lifestealer is already pretty tanky with his Lincoln Sphere and does a ton of damage. In my opinion, my team is already stronger than the enemy team. So offensively, I don't think I need anything crazy. I think I want a defensive item. So one of my options is Aghanim Scepter. I don't think Ags is the best choice because it's too expensive. Of course, anytime you can get Ags, it's a yes. It's Dazzle's best item. But as a position 5 support, it's a little bit too expensive. And I take a look at AM's inventory. And AM, right after he died, he bought Dust. Okay, he's basically saying, I am not going to die to Glimmer because I couldn't kill Dazzle because of Glimmer Cape anymore. I am going to kill him the next time I see him. Right? So he's telling you what he's going to do. He's telling you, I am not going to be countered with Glimmer Cape. So I know that we are probably going to push the pace of this game. And so in the next 5 minutes, I want to get an item. I don't want to have to wait 8 minutes, 10 minutes. So I don't want to get Ags. I don't want to get Octarine. Both of those items will be great. I don't want to get Lotus Orb because that item is also very expensive. I decide to go for Yules. So the next time we fight, AM jumps on me. Instead of just Glimmer Cape, Ghost Scepter, and Psychic Headband, now I have Yule's, Glimmer Cape, Ghost Scepter, and Psychic Headband. So I am almost guaranteeing that I survive. Lo and behold, a few minutes later, we're in a scenario where my Life Stealer is infested into Pudge, and he gets taken all the way back to base, and AM gets a chance to jump me, and I have to survive with my items. Now, AM at this point has Ags, Basher, Manta, Butterfly, Battle Fury. He is 6 slotted. He had to take out his boots to put dust. So I barely survive. Okay, well, even though I ended up dying, I still survived a lot longer than I should have, and I gave my teammates time to come in, back me up, and we end up getting a positive outlook on the game because we end up killing AM, who is basically their only hope at this point. I also ended up buying back because I don't think AM has buyback, and I think we're going to finish the game. We have megas at this point, so yada yada yada. We go in. Hopefully you guys got a good understanding of what was going through my head as I bought the items. Just to really quickly summarize, you want items as a position 5 support. You want items that are to keep you alive. The first item should counter the mid lane. You want something that's going to counter blinks, initiation, give you more range. You want your shard. And then from there, you might want to consider getting a Ghost Scepter or a Lotus Orb or a Yule's or maybe even Ags or an Octarine, depending upon how the game is going. You really want to visualize what the next team fight is going to look like and what items are going to help you succeed in those team fights. The only way to really get good at visualizing these team fights is to play more games. And of course, Turbo is a great way to do tons of team fights over and over. Turbo team fights are very chaotic. They're much more difficult than regular game team fights. Those team fights are insanely fast, and there's tons more things to keep track of. Who has BKB, who has what dispel, who has blink. Those things come really fast. In regular games, they're a lot more slow, methodical, easier to control. So that's my breakdown on it. And I hope you guys learned something, and good luck in your next games as Dazzle. Let's do this.